Meet textile artist Darcy Shively. She creates these weavings using a loom. She dyes her own yarn in wool and threads it through the loom to create these wall hangings. Today you will create a circle loom using a paper plate and learn how to do a radial weaving. All right, we're going to begin our loom by painting our plate. You have a brush, water, sponge, and tempera paints. We want to always use a dry brush with this. So anytime I change colors, I will clean and dry off the brush on the sponge. We're going to do circles radiating around the center of our plate. So find a color you like. Start in the center. When you have the circle you like, clean your brush. I'm just bouncing it on the bottom. Press your bristles. Wipe it off on the sponge. Next color. I think I'll go out like that. Take it right up to the first color. Be careful when you get up there because it will go and blend. You can just mix it a little bit. Clean. Think about your next color choice. Dry your sponge. I think I'll use yellow. And fill it in. Now that my loom is dry, I have these little dashes on the rim of my plate. I'm just going to take my scissors and snip right on top. Of those dashes. There we go, got them all. All right, we have our piece of yarn. We're going to turn over our loom. You can lay your end anywhere on your plate near a notch. You're going to put your yarn in the notch. You have the end right here, just a little bit of the end, maybe an inch or so. It shouldn't be like this. And then you're going to take your tape and secure it to your plate like that. Now you will have your yarn at the top of the plate. We're going to come down and bring this yarn across to the bottom, and you're going to need to have 5 notches on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be showing, so this is going to stick right in there, and on this side you should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 5 open notches here. If you wanted to count from the top, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll go in the 6. So you're going to pull your string, not too tight, but you don't want it real loose like this. That will make it difficult to weave with. So now what we're going to do is take our yarn and bring it up through the next door neighbor's notch. Come across to the other side. Now we're making the letter X. You'll place the yarn inside and then rotate your plate. You're going to take the yarn right to the next notch, up, go across next to the first one we did, and rotate. Going to rotate each and every time. So go right next door, across the plate, place it in, rotate. Next door, across the plate, rotate. Next door, across the plate, rotate. Now we have one notch left. You're going to take the yarn and go through that notch, and then you should have a little bit extra. All right, so here is our end. We're going to come up and start weaving. We want to go A-B pattern, over, under, over, under, over, under. So we'll get a little tricky, get that one in place. So here I come, I'm going over the first string, under the second, over the third. This one needs to go under. Then I'll go over and under, over, under, pulling this as I go. So I went under this one, I have to go on top, under, over, under. Now the second row. I went under this one, so this one I have to go over. Then under, then over. Under, over. I just keep repeating it in my head, and if I give a little tug, it's going to start bringing all my strings together. It's hard to see, I'll show you in a second, but this is my loom, this is my warp, and I'm going to be kind of encasing these warp threads with my weaver, my weft. So we shouldn't see these strings, they should be hiding underneath our weft, which is what I'm doing right now. You see, as every time I do this, I give it a little pull, bring those pieces of yarn together to the one in front of it. Okay, my string is getting shorter, and I want it so it's about the length of my finger. Now I'm ready to get another color. I've chosen yellow. What I'm going to do is I need to tie these two together. I'm going to lay them down next to each other, lining up the ends. I will make a circle like that. Now I can take the two ends, wrap it around and into the circle, and then go ahead and pull it tight. I have a little bit of extra here. I can go ahead and trim it. Don't cut your knot off. Now I'm going to carry on with the same weaving. So I look back here, I went under, over, now I'll go under, it's going to help if I kind of just ball this end up a little bit. It'll be easier to. So under, over, this one goes under, then over, then under, over, under, over, under, and we'll just tuck that little end under. Once I get to all the way around the circle on my second row of yellow, we'll make sure that little knot is hidden. Do you see how I just keep rotating my plate? You'll see this a little easier. Do you see how the first row was under, now the second row's over? that helps you know that you're doing it right. If you had something that looked like this, and you see 2 rows on top, that's your alarm. Beep, beep, beep. Stop what you're doing and figure out where you messed up. At some point, I went over 2 of them. Look here. I went over this yarn and over this yarn, and that's going to mess up my pattern. So if that happens, go back to where you messed up, take out your yarn and fix it. Now there we go, back on track. I keep repeating over, under in my head, pulling my yarn as I go. Keep checking my work, making sure I'm hiding these black yarns. Now look here, did it again, so I'm backing this up. I went over these 2 pieces right here. So make sure you don't go too fast and you check your work so you don't have to pull out too much when you do make a little mistake. And I just keep giving a little gentle tug to bring that yarn up towards the center of my weaving. All right, I'm at the end now, and I need to finish my weaving off. I need to secure this end so it doesn't unravel. I'm going to do one more here. I want to go underneath, so I just went under. So now I'm supposed to go over, but what I'll do is I'll go over and then under the same one like that. And really what I'm doing is I'm going to take my end and go through this hole and pull gently, and I'll do it one more time. So take my yarn, go under the warp thread, take the end, go through the hole and pull it. Now I can take my scissors and just trim that end. Make sure you don't get your warp thread, and I'll kind of just push this up and tuck it so you don't see the ending. So here is my circle weaving radial design, all going around the circle, using my loom, my paper plate loom, creating a warp using my yarn and wefting with the yarn going around in an AB pattern.